there is no like formula or science behind how to look at the data. It has so much to do with like intuition. And the way you build intuition is actually through obsession.
I know I have a lot of content creator friends. You more than anyone are like, okay, this worked or this didn't work. I'm going to do more of that. And I feel like that is so powerful and why you've taken off so fast.
Like, it wasn't like I was like one day had the confidence to take the plunge and bet on myself. No, at some point it was like, I can't breathe anymore. I literally am so emotionally done with this. It takes time, but like one day you will land the moonshot. But the moonshot is the only way that you can be extraordinary and exceptional and unique. And my biggest fear in life is being average.
Welcome to Trailblazers, the podcast where we sit down with contrarian tech leaders who found conventional success in unconventional ways. I'm your host, Erica Wenger, founding general partner of Park Rangers Capital. Each week, we uncover the stories, strategies, and moments of grit that define the builders shaping the future. They're not just chasing unicorns, but instead creating elephants. Companies, firms, or movements built to last. On Trailblazers, we spotlight founders who succeed by doing things differently, not by following the playbook, but by rewriting it. Many of those unconventional builders and the VCs backing them run on Brex because it helps them scale with speed and focus. From smart corporate cards and high-yield banking to AI-powered expense management, Brex gives startups the financial stack they need from day one so they can spend more time building and less time managing back-office operations. More than 30,000 companies, from breakout startups like Anthropic and Cursor to global leaders like DoorDash and Plaid, trust Brex to help them spend smarter and move faster. That's why we, as a venture firm and also the podcast, run on Brex too. Sign up at brex.com/trailblazerspod to get started and claim exclusive rewards. That's brex.com/TRAILBLAZERSPOD. So today on the show, I am so excited to be chatting with Avni Barman. Avni is the CEO and founder of GenShe, a media company and fund empowering a community of over 700,000 women across Instagram, TikTok, a newsletter, a podcast, and a job board. Through GenShe, Avni writes 50 to 100K checks into ventures that directly help their audience rise to the top 1%, driving real impact for the next generation of women leaders. Before launching GenShe, Avni spent over 4 years in big tech as an engineer and product manager, experience that now fuels her mission to unlock the potential of young women in entrepreneurship, tech, venture, and media. Her work bridges empowerment and innovation, creating pathways for women to lead in every corner of tech, venture, and media. Let's welcome Avni Barman.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How fun is reading that bio?
I'm like listening to it. I'm like, whoa, I did do all that? Dang, yeah.
Dang, yeah, 700,000. That's crazy.
And growing.
Yes. And compounding. It's the beauty of compounding. It's like, you got to keep updating that number because it's just stacking it up.
Something about media and it being so quantitative, it's like, this is exactly how many followers you have, like by the literal number, like just fuels me. Like, I love it.
It helps your like engineering math heart just be happy.
Totally. It's like, there's no confusion where I stand.
And it's actually a really good point. I feel like a lot of people think content's very creative and like woo-woo, but there is like a real science to it. Like the math has to math.
Oh yeah, you can't be successful with it without really using the data and the science.
I love it. Okay, amazing. And I want to quickly just touch on, because I actually haven't heard this yet, about your thesis for GenShe. I haven't heard you explain it to me this way. You write checks into ventures that directly help their audience rise to the top 1%. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about like how you crafted that and what that means to you.
Yeah, so I think there's like this niche on the internet of really ambitious women with high purchasing power, high potential. They could be corporate professionals looking to quit their jobs and build companies. They could be corporate professionals looking to like rise in the workforce and like be VP level, maybe be CEO one day, or even just part-time business owners who are also moms. Like, we're like entering this era where women are looking at work in a very different way, and they're also like truly being able to have a lot more like ability to pursue entrepreneurship, right? There's so much like lower barriers to entry nowadays with social media democratizing access. And then also like it's so much easier to make money on the internet. So we're just seeing this whole new world and this audience that is often not really being spoken to and thought about when it comes to the products and services that we're building. So that's kind of the type of company we want to invest in. Someone who's like actively thinking about this demographic when they're building. So the companies that we tend to invest in are productivity tools, fintech tools that help democratize access to wealth. Femtech is obviously huge. Like, you have to actually be healthy in order to build something for yourself, and how does all these tools really look like for like that modern working woman?
I love it. And like, what does it mean to be in that top 1%? You know, like what are all the things, Maggie Sellers is someone who, she is hot, smart, rich. And she always talks about like, being hot, being smart, being rich, there's all these things that you want. When you're in the 1%, like, I don't know, you want to have it all. You want to be healthy. Yep. You want to be rich. You want to be all the things.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Top 1%. Girlies definitely have it all. And I really do believe you can have it all. I think with the right tools and the right strategies, the right mindset, like it is totally possible. And I think oftentimes we've been told this narrative that we can't have it all and that you have to choose. So I think a lot of also the content that we make is like, well, how can you have it all? And like, what are the resources you can go to? And like, what are the strategies? And then along that narrative storytelling that we present across our social media and across our newsletter and podcast, we are also plugging in the tools that they can use to do that. And oftentimes those companies are companies we've just simply invested in.
It goes together. It's such an ecosystem. Okay, so I want to get into the meat of the interview, but we're going to start with an icebreaker. Okay, we ask all our guests this, and we go deep fast. Everyone knows this. Like, I was recording a podcast earlier today, and he was like, whoa, like revealing big life things. So on here, we talk a lot about choosing the hard paths. And so what has been the very hardest part of your journey so far? And not just the part that you tell everyone, but the part that almost broke you in building Gen She to what it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's like, this is like something I literally never talk about. So you're right, you got deep fast. I think friendship. I think friendship is the hardest thing, actually, because, like that little trifecta of like sleep and social and work.
Yeah, you can only do 2 of the 3.
Yeah. And I feel like what we often don't talk about is in the social, and yeah, you kind of can only do 2 out of 3 at one point, not like for your entire life. So I think that's important to preface. But in that social bucket, I think what we forget to say is like part of that social bucket includes family, includes your partner, it includes your sibling, it includes your cousins, right? And then it also includes your friends. And I feel like in navigating this like trifecta, every time I get to social, I never want to put my family like last or my partner last. I'll end up putting them always first. And then what ends up happening is my friends are put last. Not that I'm even like the best contributing family member or something. Like I'm also like terrible at that, but like at least in my mind, I like trying my
blood,
best.
so you're like, yeah, you got to try a little harder.
And so I feel like then what happens is like I feel like my friends end up last on that list and last on that priority. And I have the best friends ever. I'm totally not saying that, but I think it's hard to maintain like that quantity that I think oftentimes in media we're presented in your 20s that you're going to be like super popular and have hundreds of friends come to your birthday party and you're going to go on like 50 bachelor trips and bachelorettes and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that narrative that I've consumed from media and I've very much in a privileged way lived that narrative throughout my life. Like I went to USC, which is like pretty well-known party school. And then I also grew up in this like big community of people. So I've always been surrounded by a ton of friends and family and community, and that like I guess constantly having like a party to go to in a big group, surrounded myself. So growing up with that narrative, being surrounded by the narrative, and then being in this moment where I have to now choose against that narrative, because if I don't, either I sacrifice my sleep, or I sacrifice my business, or I sacrifice my partnership or my family, and like those are like my 4 non-negotiables. And like you can't have a 5th non-negotiable. Those are already like a big list. So I think the hardest part of the journey is actually just like accepting the consequences of that, because you can't say that I'm not going to show up for my friends and I'm not going to spend time with them and I'm going to expect them to continuously show up for me and be there for me. Like that is not the expectation. That's not what's happening. So I mean, I think the first time I learned this lesson was when I was in college and I was really trying to get a software engineering job at a big tech company, but I didn't have prior coding experience. And it was something I wanted really badly because it was at that time in the industry where it felt like the only way to truly penetrate tech was to have that technical experience. And I didn't have a computer science background or like an engineering degree. So it felt like kind of like my shortcut was like, what if I got like a really reputable job? That could maybe be my shortcut to being validated by people in tech. Oh, she's technical, right? And that was like probably the hardest things. It still is today. I think it was harder even than building a company. It was just like, this is pre-ChatGPT, okay? Like I'm teaching myself how to code with like
you are in the trenches. Yeah,
I'm in the trenches. I'm literally living in the library. I literally do not speak to my friends. My boyfriend actually asked me like, oh, I just want to check, are we still dating? Like, I don't even know. And he was like so sweet at the time. He was like,
not the same boyfriend that you have now, or different?
No.
Different.
It was whatever, random college boyfriend.
Yeah.
But
I was about to be like, whoa, you really made it work.
No. Yeah, that didn't really work. So, but like to my original point, it was a lot of like isolation and sacrifice at that time. Like I was barely eating and drinking. Like I was not hanging out with my friends. Yeah, I lost all those friends. I don't talk to any of them anymore. And that was like the first time that I really felt the choices of my actions and the consequences of it. And I do not regret that time in my life. I think a single minute less I had spent, I would not have achieved my goal, and I would not be here today. And I love my life, and I built truly my dream career. So I have zero regrets in that moment, but I do live with the consequences of those actions every day. And it was like that first moment where I realized crystal clear, oh, this is just the beginning.
What's really hard too, and thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you being vulnerable. And what's really hard too is to achieve that top 1% outcome. You have to do things that only the top 1% are willing to do, which is a lot of times make sacrifices. And it's so hard to know what to sacrifice for and what to not sacrifice for. Do you have, I mean, I know you're happy with your career now and you've lived a lot and learned a lot and made mistakes. And do you have like a formula now that you use for like when you do, no matter what, show up for those people? Or is it just quantity and like you just have less and you just are so picky about the few that you do have?
No, it's totally quality. I think it's about being there for the important moments and not all the moments. So birthdays, like non-negotiable. Like if you're someone that I want to keep in my life and it's your birthday, like, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to support that. Also things like weddings or like big milestones in their life, baby showers, whatever. I think milestones for me are non-negotiables for like relationships I really want to keep. And they're like maybe 5. Like they're not a lot. So I think milestones are non-negotiables, but like I will unfortunately not be able to hang out with them every weekend, and I'll have to be able to put those boundaries down. And oftentimes I do lose friends as a result, but then I remind myself that the right friend and someone who truly is value aligned with me will understand that I'm not saying no to their plans because I don't want to hang out with them. It's like I'm just trying my best to keep up with my personal life and that I'm thinking about them and that I'm there for them if they actually truly need my support. So I think that's kind of the rule that I've, I guess, placed, and I do still struggle with it every day. It sounds like I've figured it out. I absolutely do not. Like there's many moments where I go to a party or go to a thing and I actually feel angry at myself. I was like, that was not a good use of time because I left feeling drained and I didn't feel like I was actually adding to the connection of a relationship. Like they didn't really need me there, or they weren't really it wasn't really someone who was maybe part of my top 5 or something. So there's oftentimes I'll get angry at myself for that, and I try to remind myself to like those are learning lessons. Like you have to make those mistakes to know how to do better next time. And the second is like my partner. I think your partner is someone who you will spend the most time with across whatever your week, your life. And so I have a very unique partner who is like overly understanding and almost lives a similar life. So we're operating on such a shared wavelength and such a shared set of values that, yeah, we don't have typical date night. We don't like, he will literally go to his best friend's like birthday weekend trip and he'll be the only one without his girlfriend there, and he has 0% resentment and like complete and understanding, and the same will happen for me. And I think having that relationship and having that understanding simply because we're just aligned on that value set is also like a huge thing in my life that allows me to keep growing and pushing towards my goals.
Yeah, you need a partner that like totally supports that, because so many would just not be okay with it and wouldn't see the bigger picture. Because like, you're not doing this for nothing. It's not like you're just doing this to like play video games at home. Like you're doing this to build something that a lot of people are not going to build. And I think that is really powerful. One thing that's a little bit more niche to you that I wanted to ask you about with friendship is, and I'm seeing this a little bit myself, is, you know, you are many things. One of the things is content creator. And there's this really interesting balance with like what you share and what you don't share. And it's something that I have struggled with a little bit because I share a lot of work content, and I've had some people say like, oh, it kind of sometimes comes across as a little one-dimensional. Like you don't talk about your friends or your partner or the marathon you're running or like anything, you know, the trips you went on. It's more just like work. And I feel that you similarly, your focus for your content is about work. Do you feel like do you have any rules around that? Any hard lessons learned? And then also, maybe I'm projecting my own experience, but a lot of people that aren't in the content world struggle to understand it, why would you tweet that? Why would you post that? Why would you say that? Any reflections there, or like even advice as someone who's like not yet with the content following that you do, but as experiencing sort of tension, maybe a little bit about that?
Yeah. I have infinite thoughts because I almost think about this every single day, all day. So,
yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. There are two schools of thoughts on this. And there's a right or wrong answer, not based on what is the right or wrong thing to do, but rather what is the type of business you want to build. So if you are in the business of monetizing a niche customer base and you, like, let's say it's B2B SaaS leaders, I'm making this up, then yeah, you don't need to talk about your boyfriend and your marathon because you're not more likely to sell to that customer if they have that additional detail from you, right? Now, we have this other school of thought, which is fandom and the business of fandom. And if you are trying to be in that business where your fan or follower or customer, whatever you want to call them, is following you for you, and that you want to build a business where you can basically sell them anything because it's you advocating for it, then there are no boundaries truly. Well, there are. The more boundaries you have, the less successful you will be, actually, is the right answer in that school of thought. And this is something that, like, I really struggled and thought about for a while because when I started off, I had definitely had a million boundaries up, and I was like, these are my non-negotiables. These are the things I'm only going to talk about career and work. I'm not going to talk about all these other things. And every month, I feel like it's like an onion. Like I strip a layer down of okay, fine, I'll talk about this, but I won't talk about this. And then the next month, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll reveal a little bit more. And it's rooted in the fact that I've realized that I'm actually building the business of fandom, because as someone who's like the face of my brand, and Genshi is a community rooted in like a mission and a message, and I am kind of in the business of trying to sell them anything, whether that's like a sponsorship video on my Instagram or it's a startup I've invested in that I want them to get behind. I want to build a business where I can kind of sell them an emotion or a message and all the products and the companies who belong in that universe. And so for me to actually be successful, I have to one day get to the core of the onion. And so that has been something that I've recently realized. And again, this is not the right way to build a business. This is just a realization I've had for how I want to build my business. And there are so many other ways to exist in the content world and be super successful without revealing a bunch of personal stuff. Like, I mean, we know Cody Sanchez. She's like one of the most successful business female content creators. She barely talks about anything outside of the work, and she's super successful. So there is totally a reality where you can, but like she can't sell anything, right? She can sell her course. She can sell the idea of like buying a business. She can sell being a successful woman. There's still like a lot of pillars she maybe like can't go down and maybe successful, but she doesn't want to, right? So like that works for her. So I'm basically like on this mission or on this journey to get more and more comfortable with revealing more and more parts about my life. And I guess the North Star, or where I'm headed, is one day everything is on the internet about me and there is nothing behind walls. And
does that scare you?
Oh, of course. If it didn't scare me, I would have done it already.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I mean, it's as simple as putting up a video and just saying everything. But I think part of that journey is every day I work towards gaining a little bit more confidence about myself and my brand through the validation of the followers in the community. And they also beg and ask for it. And if you don't give them what they want, like they will tune out. So there's also like a little bit of this tension and like this like ability to just stay afloat and like keep up with this extremely competitive space. But yeah, one day it'll be all out there. And I'm sure by then I've been in the industry for so long and I've taken so many baby steps that it'll felt easy in retrospect. I mean, at least I'm hoping. But I guess that's just also part of the cost of being part of that 1%, or like being one of the best in your field is, yeah, of course it comes with a lot of that sacrifice. And the reason why I'm even pursuing that path, because that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make or I want to make.
100%. I think the way that you explain that too so beautifully is like, not everyone has to start with revealing everything, and it's just a journey. And you thought you were in camp 1, and then the longer you've been growing, you inevitably moved to camp 2, which I think is really, really powerful. When did that happen? Was that like in the past few months that you had this realization, like, I'm building more of like a fandom type brand? Mm-hmm. Or is that something that you've been gradually working towards for years?
I can't say it was like this, like one day I woke up and I realized. It's like tiny shifts in understanding across this past year. So it wasn't like a lightning bulb moment. It was like every time I was like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, what's the process for that? Oh, fandom. And then it was like continuously seeing the signs of the business I wanted to build involved that cost. And as I slowly peeled down this onion and like tested the waters of topics about my life and was like, oh, it doesn't feel so bad. Actually, it feels honestly empowering to be able to share my true self. And I mean, obviously there's so many moments of just being completely shattered and canceled by the internet. Like it started off with maybe having once every 6 months. And I remember like that day I'd be like fully out. Like no one could speak to me. I'd be crying all day. Like I couldn't post.
Just like comments that were just like really mean, or like what does that look like in reality?
Thousands of like insane comments just like completely tearing you down and roasting you for an opinion you have that you truly authentically believe in. I'm not randomly saying stuff for rage bait.
Right.
I have done that before, by the way. And when I get roasted on that, I don't feel bad because they're not tearing me down. They're tearing a tactic. Yeah, I tried a tactic. I'm learning, so that's fine. And I'm okay with it. But when you really speak your heart and you really put yourself out there and be vulnerable, like this is my true opinion. And I know it's controversial, but that's like how media works. Like if you don't say something controversial, like no one cares, it's boring. And then the entire internet roasts you or misunderstands you, takes you down. It's the hardest part about this career. And every time that this happens, I like my fingers literally hovering over the delete button like all day. And it's really the support system of my team, my partner, my friends telling me do not delete, because these are the steps you need to take to be a unique voice on the internet, to be a one-on-one voice on the internet, or you blend away, you don't grow. You don't truly build that fandom, right? You can't build fandom off of like opinions that everyone has. You only build fandom off of extreme opinions. And so to even get to my goal, I have to like continue to do that. Now it happens like about once a week, if not multiple times a week. And I do not take full days off crying.
Do you even look? Like, or do you feel like you have to because you have to know?
I always look. It's impossible to not look. And I always feel bad. I'm definitely not at a point where I feel indifferent. I definitely feel bad. But it's like I'm like irritated, annoyed all day. And I'm like texting people like, oh, I feel so bad. Or like, I feel like shit. Should I take it down? But like, I'm not like hovering over that delete button at that point. I've come a lot farther, and I hope to continue to get to a point where I continue to feel more detached and removed, which sounds very robotic and inhumane, that every day I like continuously work to detach from my identity and detach from that brand online, especially as the line between who I am and online and in person is blurring, aka they're becoming more similar. So to detach from that is actually a very inhumane and robotic thing to practice every day. And this is going to sound fucking crazy. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Is like, I do think the internet reality and my IRL reality is one and the same. If not, I live more in the internet world at this point.
Which is so wild.
So wild, so scary.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. But in a weird, fucked up way, sometimes I feel like the people online understand me more anyways, because they're actually consuming so many parts of me in a way that like, sometimes people in my real life don't even have enough interest to know about me or to invest in me to really. So
there's also like a weird thing around the algorithm where like, and we're going to get really meta here for a second, but like if you go meet someone at an event in New York, like sure, it might be like a curated group, but like the algorithm's going to find like the one person in like of the 7 billion who's going to like really, really resonate. Mm-hmm. So there's this weird like in the physical IRL world, you can't really have that level of access to like the exact person that will resonate versus online. You might find someone that lives in like France or something who just really is like living a parallel life to you, or like you are exactly what they need to hear right now.
Exactly.
It's kind of wild.
Totally. And I think one of the big things I realized that allowed me to have a lot of peace with this topic was realizing that the internet actually makes the IRL better, because now when I post where I'm going or what I'm doing, those true fans, the ones who really deeply connect with my values and who I would have never met in real life, there would be no context we shared, will show up there, and then I get to meet them and I get to share that connection with them, and they get to be in my life after that point. So now, so many times people will ask me, I've noticed this having a recurring pattern in my life. People ask me, how do you know each other? Or how are you friends? And like my answer is like the internet now.
Totally.
More of a default.
Yeah.
And so I think realizing that, maybe actually being so rooted in the internet world, maybe it's not so much a cost of the life I'm pursuing, but rather could it be an advantage, and seeing it like that.
RocketReach is the leading sales and lead intelligence solution trusted by sales, marketing, recruiting, and business development teams to grow their businesses. Whether you're looking for a developer halfway around the world, a C-level executive in New York, or a potential investor in Silicon Valley, we connect you directly. With RocketReach, you can easily access the most comprehensive, accurate compilation of emails and phone numbers on Earth. That puts you in front of the right people faster and backs you up with a database that reaches across industries, markets, and titles, using AI to continually improve the quality of your contacts. With RocketReach, you can reach anyone so you can reach higher. Many of you know I love cold outreach. It's been the root of any of my success so far, and this is the tool that I've used the whole time. Trailblazer listeners get 15% off any plan at rocketreach.co/trailblazers. That's rocketreach.co/trailblazers. And we talk about how friendships have shifted and evolved. Maybe it is about finding friends right now who also live in the digital world a lot and appreciate that and are okay with that. I know it's funny. It sounds so silly, but I was like putting together my list of girls that are coming to my bachelorette party. Like there's more than one that are an internet friend. And and of course we're now life friends, but we met on the internet. And it's so crazy to think, if you were to tell people our parents' generation, they would not believe you, but that's how a lot of friendships are forming and forging now. I want to talk a little bit about your background. So the impetus for this podcast, Trailblazers, was I want to find people that have done really cool, exciting things and then totally veered left or veered right. And that's a lot of who we have on. The person that was a huge executive and then started a comms agency. The person's a longtime venture person. They've been investing forever, and then they go I don't know, become an astronaut. I mean, I'm being a little dramatic, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
And you were one of the people, when I came up with my list of 5 archetypes, you were one of the people I thought of. Because it was she has been an operator. She made a huge big tech salary. She was crushing it. Totally. We met at USC, graduated, totally the big job. Everyone kind of knew you were smart, crushing it, doing it. And then all of a sudden you're bye. I'm going to go start this company, which has evolved in many iterations. Yeah. Talk to me about that moment when you were in big tech, making a killer salary. You always, this is in your own words. You were working I don't know, 5-6 hours a week, if that, or 5-6 hours a day, if that.
No, a week.
A week. Talk to me about that moment and the impetus for Gen She being born.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I started Gen She in college, and it started off as a nonprofit. And it's the journey and pivots that Gen She as a company has taken is separate from the million career iterations I've done. It's truly hilarious. I'm veer left is my specialty.
You're every year keep veering
left. Every year
yeah.
veer left, literally. Yeah. So started as a nonprofit, and we started as conferences. Very much inspired by Own It, by the way, which I till this day I'm so iconic.
I was part of this organization, which she's referring to.
Yeah, which is how we met and knew each other.
Yeah.
And then we did a big conference at Snapchat, sold out a couple hundred seats.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't go, but I remember seeing that online.
Yeah, it was
incredible.
We did it in less than 3 months, my senior year. It was insane. To this day, I'm I don't know if I can do that today. And then it had so much word of mouth virality that we decided to tap into that momentum and do another one at Lyft headquarters 6 months later. And I had already started my corporate job at this point. But then the pandemic happened. So I tried my hand at doing a virtual conference. We had 16,000 people come. So it's like, now this is like super word of mouth. But we don't exist on social media. This is like purely word of mouth.
How do you get 16,000 people to sign up?
Just like sending the link.
Did you ever like track those referral links and like see, was it one super referrer? Like
it's like friends sending to friends.
Wow.
Like, it was insane. And these are paid tickets, by the way, virtual paid tickets. So it's like probably one of the more iconic things I've done in my life. But like I burnt out so deeply and so badly. Like I literally had a 4-year burnout after that. So I just like kind of paused. But the mission was so strong and the girlies were like so in it that they started basically evangelizing their own Genshi chapters in their local communities, at schools and cities. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have the emotional presence to build this, but let me give them the tools and the resources to build this and like let them fly. Build as many Genshis as you want. Like I don't need to own Genshi. Genshi is really a feeling. It's like this ability to bring together like smart women and like chase your dreams. That's all it really is. So after a couple of years of like just letting that fly, I have like no involvement. I'm just like, these leaders are in communication with me and they ask me questions and advice and I'm like freely give my time. Like I'm not working a lot. I'm like partying, like, and just giving my like volunteering almost, like giving my time for free. And
tell everyone like what your job is, like specifically.
I'm a product manager.
Great. Product manager, big tech.
Big tech, yeah, at Atlassian. And then towards the like second year, I kind of had this like crisis where I was like, wait a second, the only reason I like forgot why I got this job. I got this job not because I wanted to pursue corporate, was because I needed money. Like the idea of pursuing entrepreneurship when you graduated with like a 6-figure student loan and the desire to be like an independent girl who lives in a city in an apartment was like the biggest reason I didn't pursue entrepreneurship after college. And it was never even an option. I didn't even consider it for one moment. And I went to the Ivy and Young Academy at USC, which was like the select program of 20 students getting a degree in art, tech, and business, which was technically an entrepreneurship degree some capacity. So I'd always seen myself as an entrepreneur and I always knew that was part of my path. So I'm like 2 years into this job, I'm like, wait, what? Like I forgot the dream or the original vision. Like what's going on? It was just like so much had happened. I think COVID was also a huge curveball for me emotionally, which we are not going down that rabbit hole. We were all there together.
That's part of the onion we have not revealed yet. That is coming. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like then I met my partner, who is also a really successful entrepreneur, seeing him chase his dreams. And by the way, we met, by the way, he was like not very successful, like completely broke. So seeing him like wake up every day so happy, content, chasing his dreams, being so broke and so unsuccessful, I don't know what it was. I was like, I'm going to do it too. I don't even care to be successful. I want to wake up every day and pursue my highest path, whatever that is. And so it took me about a year to truly take the leap and really what it was, people ask me like, how did you know it was the right moment? Oh, when I started having panic attacks every morning, then it was like a mental crisis, like a health issue. Like it wasn't like I was like one day had the confidence to take the plunge and bet on myself. No, at some point it was like, I can't breathe anymore. I literally am so emotionally done with this. And I quit with like absolutely zero plan because naturally, I had already tried Genshi for so many years and I couldn't really fathom building any other idea. Like I was so passionate about that and I was putting so many hours outside of work for free, for fun. What else could I be more passionate about? And then I started to build a tech startup, as you know, because that's like when you grow up in Silicon Valley, like that is what you do. You just build tech. There's the concept of another type of business model or company existing is completely foreign.
Like a plumbing business or like a little mom and pop shop. Yeah, you
never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. So I went to Raise and I did the whole thing and like literally a few months in, it was like so many signs and so many red flags inside of me that I kept pushing, not ignoring. And I was like, I didn't quit my job just to be in another health situation that's inauthentic, where I have another sort of boss, which in this case was an investor, which I was very naive when we met. Like, you literally taught me like everything. I was very naive. I did not really understand what an investor was. I didn't understand venture funding. I'm shocked at how far I went, though not very far, with how naive and little information I had because...
But this is a lot of founders, by the way.
Yeah.
Like a lot of founders, they don't know the landscape, which is why you have to talk about these things.
And I grew up in Silicon Valley around all these tech entrepreneurs were like people I knew, and think about how little I knew, because what is being shown is very this romanticization, glamorization of what like people think it is, but what it actually is was never actually spoken about. There was no information about. So that's also something that's really interesting that I feel like I should talk about more is, as someone who literally grew up as close as you possibly could to this, knowing nothing shows you how gatekept and romanticized and idealized this whole industry is. And that is like also huge impetus to a lot of the content I talk about and make, is because I went through such a battle and through such a journey to uncover it with this much privilege. I mean, good luck to anyone else, I feel. Anyway, so ended up basically pivoting, quitting that, and moved into plan B, I guess, which was clearly the right plan A. And I was like, okay, let me leave New York, because this is like not financially sustainable with no company, job, money, anything. And then I joined this venture studio, because I was like, in this moment in time where I'm completely lost, it seems like the best thing for me to do is surround myself with other founders if I want any sort of inspiration or next steps. And I had this unique opportunity in San Francisco where I had access to this incredible studio which had a podcast room, by the way, which at the time I didn't know how pivotal that would have been for me. I didn't join because of it. I joined because of the founders, because I was literally working on nothing and I was so lost and I was just yapping away. And the reason why I got into this was I spent a lot of time befriending and networking with the team who runs the space, so they could like slip me a pass, because the pass was only given to companies that they had invested in.
Wow.
Which wasn't me.
Why do you think you got a pass and no one else? And like, you just became friends. You were likable, and that's how you got in.
I would literally show up every single day for months, stand outside, joke around, be friends, hang out with them, till they're just like, dude, just take the pass. Who cares? Like, just come in. Like, we want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, dude, you're yapping a little too much. You have too many opinions. Why don't you go use this empty podcast room that none of the other engineers will ever use? That's like completely like fully like furnished and equipped. So I was like, sure. I mean, why would I say no to this? There's like, I have nothing else going for me, and it's like, there's no cost to this. Started the podcast, started sharing a lot more of my opinions, bringing on like women that I was inspired by. And I was like, wait, I need to actually advertise the podcast, or who's going to listen to it? I need to share it with people. So it's kind of when I started to like really start creating content. And then within like barely a few weeks of doing it, I started getting these pretty big brand deals from companies with basically like no following. And I was like, wait a second. You're telling me that I can make a really good income sharing, ungatekeeping, giving out valuable resources and content without ever charging the person that I wanted to help? That's what I wanted to do the entire time, but I couldn't figure it out. And I realized that throughout every pivot, I wasn't actually pivoting. I was actually noodling on the same problem, which was, how do I help this customer, this like ambitious woman who's looking for more support, without charging that person? Because they're already like have a million gatekeepers, like financially, to like, I mean, I'm not even going to go into it. Like,
yeah, of course.
We know. Why would I add another one where they have to now pay for the support that I'm giving them? So it was like this like huge lightning bolt breakthrough moment where I realized that media and content was actually my pathway to my dream. And that was like the last place I'd ever expected myself to end up, considering my background.
We also probably didn't believe how much money you could make at it.
Absolutely.
I think that's a lot of it.
I had no understanding or knowledge. I didn't even know what the word influencer was then. I know that sounds like so noob and ridiculous. I didn't know the word. Like, I learned it when someone called me that one day, like 3,000 followers in.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're trying to be an influencer? And I was like, wait, what is that?
You're like, I just make videos. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. And then I like learned it. I was like, I learned about the career and the space. And I literally fell in love, obsessed. I was like, this is literally my golden ticket to life. That's like how I felt. Also, considering this was about 2 years ago, this was around a time where tech creators were very new. Tech companies were just exploring and starting even the concept of paying for brand deals. So it was such a niche new space that I think at the time what I didn't realize, which I know now, is I was probably very early to that space as well. So maybe today with 3,000 followers, you probably couldn't get a brand deal. But at that point, it was so unheard of to be someone like me talking about the topics I was talking about on the internet. And especially on the level of unhinged I was going, because I was so sure I would never, ever get a job again. I would never do corporate again. That's how traumatized I was, that I was willing to just say absolutely anything with like no remorse for consequences. That I think that level of audacity and authenticity like kind of propelled me to grow following. Like not fast.
No, totally fast. I watched it.
But
I also think a lot of people that make content do work for other people. And that's like a big thing we haven't even really touched on. But when you work for yourself, and like you really don't have a boss, like if you have investors, you do kind of have a boss, then you can kind of say whatever. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, is built to help small business owners and growing teams stay on top of every customer conversation. Instead of juggling calls, texts, and voicemails on a personal phone, Quo gives you a dedicated business line and an all-in-one inbox that works on any device. Teams can collaborate in real time, picking up conversations seamlessly and responding faster than ever. And with Quo's AI agent, Sona, handling after-hour calls, answering questions, and even booking appointments, you'll never miss a lead. Rated 4.7 stars on G2 and trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, Quo, formerly OpenPhone, is the smarter way to grow without missing a customer. Quo is offering my listeners 20% off of your first 3 months at quo.com/trailblazers. That's quo.com/trailblazers. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. I've actually used Gusto at 3 different companies, and every time it's been such a relief. It's simple, it's reliable, my paycheck was always on time, no drama. And unlike the big clunky payroll systems out there, Gusto is affordable and designed for teams like ours. Gusto is online payroll and benefits software built for small businesses. It's all-in-one, remote-friendly, and incredibly easy to use, so you can pay, hire, onboard, and support your team from anywhere. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/trailblazers and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/trailblazers. One more time, gusto.com/trailblazers. What's your advice for people, and then we'll get to the lightning round in a second, but what's your advice for people that are looking at what you've done and they're like, I want to be that? Maybe not specifically in the business world because you sort of like rock that niche and that's your thing, but maybe they really know so much about camping in the outdoors and like that's their thing. Or maybe they love Disney. I don't know. What's your advice for wannabe content creators? And specifically, I know you give a lot of really helpful advice for founders who are thinking about how they can like market their idea online. So give me like your content advice 101 for people that want to be content creators and or founders who know that they need to be on socials and they just like can't handle one more thing.
Yeah. Quantity over quality. You have to really be on a very legit level to start prioritizing quality over quantity. But for aspiring content creators, for founders who want to get on socials and market their products, get the reps in by any means necessary, even if your content's literal dog shit, don't care, because the whole game of content is one day getting a lottery ticket, which is your viral video, and you maximize chances towards this lottery ticket through quantity. And so anyone who says the excuse of I don't have enough time, blah, 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 anyone, if you're willing to lower your bar to the floor, can pop out 5 to 10 videos in an hour. Just open your phone and press record. Obviously, if you're better at it, you're going to get to this lottery ticket faster. But everyone starts off as a beginner. Everyone starts off at 0. And so the best way that you can actually get better is through reps. And guess what reps give you? They give you data. And with data, you have the power to iterate and tweak in the correct direction, which is everything you need in the beginning of truly doing anything. Honestly, I don't think this advice is like content creation advice. This is like advice for anything, like reps.
But you're also very good at tweaking based on what works. And this is kind of bringing it full circle to our earlier conversation about like the math and the data. Like I know I know I have a lot of content creator friends. You more than anyone are like, okay, this worked, this didn't work. I'm going to do more of that. And I feel like that is so powerful and why you've taken off so fast.
Totally. And there is no like formula or science behind how to look at the data. And it has so much to do with like intuition. And the way you build intuition is actually through obsession, right? And obsession takes time. So I'm like entering my 3rd year of social media. And I see myself probably doing this for like multiple decades in the future. So that obsession is compounding over time. And I truly believe one day I will be top 1% at what I do if I'm willing to like stick to it for that long and every single day wake up and do it. But I think the problem is it's very difficult to do something, the same thing every single day, compounded over so many years, which is why I believe if you truly can, it's actually impossible to fail and not be the number one because practically everyone's not willing.
It's just honestly the survival of the fittest. Like, who can make it? Mm-hmm. Who can make it?
And I love that because it makes me feel like my life and my destiny is completely in my control.
It is. It absolutely is. But I think a lot of people struggle with following through what they say they're going to do and really just doing the thing. Mm-hmm. So it's more than anything, I think it's like, Mel Robbins talks about her like 5-second rule, like count down from 5, right? And do it. Everyone needs to figure out their tricks to get them to like do the thing because it is so hard.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do our lightning round. Okay. You just tell me whatever comes to mind first. Okay. And you're welcome to expand upon it if you want to clarify. Okay. Book in hand or podcast in ears?
Ooh, podcast in ears.
Amazing. Any favorites recently?
Honestly, you said Mel Robbins. Now I can't stop thinking about her. I think she gives like the most actionable tips for the woo-woo stuff.
1,000%. And honestly, our earlier conversation about friendship, I've learned a lot about friendship from her. Like an adult friendship in particular.
Which is really the stuff that I need help on. Like, how do I analyze a data? Like, no, like, I'll figure that out.
Like I already know how to do that.
Tell me how to have a friend. Like, be a good friend.
It's really, there's a whole conversation about being like an ambitious woman and keeping friends for another day.
Yeah.
And for us over like drinks.
Seriously.
Okay, morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Late. How late?
Like, not even late. I just can't wake up in the morning.
Like, it's more the other way. Yeah.
It's more like I just need to sleep a lot, and sleep's just so important. So I 100% put it as my number one thing.
Honestly, I feel like you can't be a healthcare investor and like not do that because if you just look at the data for more than a second,
it's everything.
It's everything. Okay, cooking dinner or ordering in?
Ordering in.
Okay, what do you like to order?
I love a little sushi box. I'm a regular at the Sweet Green Mix of the World. A salad is so easy because you can put in like all your veggies, you can put in your protein, your carbs, all of it. Just dump in the salad and you can just like chow that down in front of your laptop.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Any favorite New York sushi spots?
Ooh, yes.
Like for takeout.
This is so obnoxious.
Give it.
Rosella, which is actually
I've never heard of it.
It's like my favorite spot in the world. Not to be dramatic. It's right next door to us.
Wait, is it really?
It's very expensive.
And so you get it to go? You get it takeout or do you go in person?
I'll do both. It's actually not traditional Japanese sushi, which is why so it's surprisingly really good. It's like fusion across like Peruvian, like Mediterranean flavors. So it's just so unique.
I got to try it.
Oh, it's my favorite.
It's funny. I've been going to some spots lately. Like I went to Bangkok Supper Club and I think they say they're Thai. And I was like, this is not Thai food. Some of these places in New York, they like say they're Japanese or Thai. It's so fusion. Okay, great. VC or bootstrapping?
Bootstrapping.
The queen of bootstrapping. You're like, I tried that for a couple months and I'm out.
I was like, I'm out.
Networking dinner or big conference?
Oh, networking dinner.
100%. Ooh, I'm shocked you say that. Tell me more.
Because
you're the conference queen these days.
Only for now in my life, right? I think when you're early in your career, conferences are the best way because you don't know anyone. You need to first know people to invite and like get yourself out there and get the reps in, right? The first 100 times you talk to someone, you're going to be awkward and it's going to be weird and it's going to land flat. I say networking dinner now because I'm at that point in my career where quality is really important and like most people can't open the door that I want, but few can. And so nurturing those relationships over like intimate settings where I can spend valuable time over the course of a few hours is going to go like a lot farther for me. But I mean, conference girly through and through, just because I honestly just like have fun. I think like I don't go to conferences anymore to network. I obviously share a lot of tips and advice around it because my audience is a little bit earlier in their career and they can really get value from that. But for me, it's like a little Coachella concert. Like I'm just like bumping around, having a blast. Like I love it. I don't know why. I'm crazy.
I think honestly, we both got our start with creating conferences.
Yes.
Like I'm just realizing that now. Like mine Own It, yours Gen Chi, and like we just love it because that's what we come from.
That's probably what it is. Yeah.
But now later in our career, it's just not as relevant for the most part. But like that's how we got our start.
Yeah,
conference
that's so
girlies
true.
in our core, you
That's in
know,
our
like
core.
bringing people together, like mass groups, incredible speakers, like that giant, larger than life auditorium. Like that feeling is incredible.
Yeah, how do you have this many people with a shared interest who are super brilliant in their space all in one room? To me, is just like the most magical, coolest thing.
And the ripple effects of it. Like, I'm sure you get these emails too, but I get emails, it's been, I don't know, 8 years or something. And like, I literally get emails from people being like, someone I met at the conference just hired me.
Yep.
Or
all
this
the time.
person just, it's crazy.
It's amazing.
Okay, hire slow or fire fast?
Both?
Gotta pick one.
Oh my God. I think fire fast.
Okay, tell me more.
I think the industry is shifting so much that I don't even know anymore what are these certain skills that are going to really stand out and get me to the next stage. And I think especially being in a field that's rapidly growing so much, I'm like, I don't even know what I need. But the second they're like on the ground running with me, I'm going to immediately know whether they're going to stay or not. And so holding on to that person that's not meant to stay, I think is bad business. But I think that's because it's deep-rooted belief I have, which is you don't need certain expertise to do any job in the world. I mean, like my entire career is built on that like premise that you don't actually need a skill to do a job. Only thing you need is like passion and willingness to work hard and like showcasing like leadership and go-getter abilities. And I think it's those abilities if you have, like I truly think you can excel at anything. And it's like only I have to believe that or I like won't have the confidence to veer left constantly. And so maybe this is because I'm not good at hiring yet, but I struggle to detect those qualities in an interview. I fear I have to actually see them be on the ground with me. And then I can immediately be like, oh, you're this or that.
I think that a lot of people feel that way. Like, especially in early startups, it's just really hard to know. That is why people try to hire slow as like a way to solve for that. Like, let me just see with time. But you're right. You often don't know until they're in it.
Yeah.
10 small wins or one moonshot?
Oh, one moonshot.
Tell me more. Are you thinking of like the one viral video or like the one big business that gets sold? Like where is your head going when you hear that one moonshot?
I've never gotten anything from a small win. Only thing I've ever to catapult me to the next step in this world where everything is so competitive and ridiculously saturated. Like the only way that you can even get one step further is you have to like go for the moonshot. So I'd rather spend 30 days doing the exact same thing every single morning where one day I land the moonshot. I'd rather. That is actually the only way you land the moonshot. Is like you have to, it takes time, but like one day you will land the moonshot. But the moonshot is the only way that you can be extraordinary and exceptional and unique. And my biggest fear in life is being average. So
I get it. Yeah, not being in the top 1%. Well, it's almost like the 10 small wins gets you to the one moonshot is kind of what you're saying. Like the 30 days of consistency gets you to the one big moonshot.
Right. And it's how you classify small win. Like me showing up, waking up in the morning, posting that video, even if it got no views, to someone might classify as a win. I was like, oh, at least I showed up to someone else. It might be like, oh, it wasn't a win because the video flopped.
Totally.
So it's all perception also in the verbiage.
Totally.
But yeah, totally agreed.
One moonshot. Being early or being right?
Be early.
Tell me more about that.
You can be wrong and then be right tomorrow. Like change your mind. Like nothing is permanent, right? Like you have complete control over your life and the choices you make and you can change them as soon as 1 minute later. And I think living in the fear of being wrong makes you feel like maybe you just take less risks as a result, or you lack confidence in your opinions, and no one knows what they're doing. Like, so believing that like you're gonna have to be right, like everyone else is confidently expressing their opinions. They don't even know if they're right. So might as well just like confidently express what you think, even if you're right or wrong. If you're wrong, that's fine. You made a mistake, correct it. Something about being early, you have that like first mover advantage that gives you like so much more room to fail and fail a lot. and still have time to catch up and compete. I think like I've just time and time, every success story or every like amazing like new product or companies come out is because they were early to it. And being early really just actually boils down to believing in yourself or believing in an idea, even not having the validation that you're correct or not.
Absolutely. There is a thing as being too early, though. So it's like timing it. Like, what is too early, you know?
Yes, be early, but not too early.
Yeah. Never post on social media again, or never fundraise another dollar again. This is maybe easy for you.
This is too easy. Never fundraise a dollar.
Never
ever
fundraise.
again.
You're like, and I didn't enjoy that, and I love social.
Yeah.
AI hype or AI fatigue?
AI hype, but more hype in the sense of everything is AI, so we don't need to keep talking about AI. Just make sure you're incorporating it in everything you're doing. Like, I spend, like, multiple hours a day just talking to ChatGPT. Like, literally, like, my business partner, therapist, friend, like,
Same, all in one.
coworker. Yeah, all day. And that is truly AI hype. Like, I'm embracing it onto, like, the deepest level in every minute of my life. And so, in that way, yes. But we don't need to keep saying AI companies and, like, this is an AI product. Or, like, everything is AI now and should be if you want to like compete in this industry.
Totally. I've been saying like a lot of people say they're building an AI startup. I'm like, it's just a startup.
Yeah.
It's like a .com. Like, what are you doing? Thank you so much for answering those. How can people support you? So a lot of folks are going to be excited to learn more. They'll follow you on socials, but what are the things that they can do to support you?
Yeah, I'm comment on my videos. That helps me
engagement.
So, yeah,
love
like,
that.
Like every time you comment on my video, like you're literally paying me, and I can do more for the girlies.
I love it, and that's free. Listen, your whole orientation is how can we help you for free?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Thanks. On Trailblazers, we're always talking about multiplying your impact, and that's exactly what Athena helps you do. Athena pairs you with a world-class executive assistant who becomes a true force multiplier for your business and your life. Working with my Athena assistant has been transformative. Gab was instrumental in raising Park Rangers Capital's fund in ways that I could have never imagined an assistant could contribute. From closing six-figure checks to identifying new LPs we should meet to matching my tone perfectly in follow-up emails. He's elevated my capacity as a founder by giving me more time to focus on the highest leverage work. Athena isn't just about scheduling meetings, it's about unlocking leverage. Hundreds of founders, investors, and executives trust Athena to free their time and scale their impact. Athena is offering our listeners $2,000 off for their first year of service and priority onboarding. And you want that, trust me, there's a very long wait list. When you're ready to multiply your impact and free up time for the things only you can do, go to athenago.me/Erica-Wenger. That's athenago.me/ERICA-WENGER. Thanks so much for listening to the Trailblazers podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. You can also support our work by sharing it with a friend or leaving a quick review. It helps more contrarian builders find us. For more on Park Rangers Capital and our community of elephant founders, head to parkrangerscap.com or find me online at Erica_Wenger. Until next time, keep trailblazing.